Welcome back and thanks for still being there. Of course, this is Rise and Shine. We're beaming live from Uyo, the capital city of Akwa, Ibom State, Nigeria. Several conversations have already gone on Rise and Shine. One way to catch up on all that, to keep tabs on all that is happening in the country and the perspectives. You need to follow us across all social media platforms. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow the conversation. We are glad to get your feedback, your concerns, and contributions on all of the issues that we raise on the platform this morning. I'm being joined by Citizen Matthew O'Connor. Of course, he is the founder and president of Open Forum, a platform that gives voice to social issues in the country. This morning, there's been a case in Akwa Ibom State where we're seeing some rejigging of the traditional rulers law 2023 in Akwa Ibom State, and we're beginning to see how we can give a new face to the monarchy system in Akwa Ibom. Where is the place of traditional rulers, and how best should they operate within the confines of the monarchy and the confines of the state government? If we go piggyback a little bit on history, we know that there is a way that the West run their monarchy. There is a system of how they have their obas and the rest of it. We see what is happening in the Shikiri kingdom. We have all of those instituted authorities. We know who is who where monarchy is concerned in certain parts of the country. We see how purely spelled out it is in the north with regards to the Sultan of Sokoto and all of that. But when it comes to Akwa Ibom, over the years, there has really been no defined structure, quote and unquote. There are chiefs, but now we want to give a structured face. It's also been brewing some controversies. Background story: there is a move to make the Ibibio Nation, which is the largest group in the in the state, as the chief of chiefs. It's more like the conversation had gone on, and the Council of Chiefs had unanimously agreed that this was something that was good for the overall of the monarchy in Akwa Ibom. But it seems that after some form of MOU was agreed upon in the council, some other sons, minority sons within the sect, within the monarchy system, have a reason to say that they are not comfortable by having the chief of chiefs to be mainly given as a right of some sort to the Ibibio nation, when we have the Anang, we have the Oro nation, and the likes. We have people that are vested in history and have a better explanation of what's going on. So, Citizen Matthew O'Connor, thank you for coming on the show this morning.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's good
Yeah,
to be here.
yeah, thank you very much. I know that that's like the basic conversation around everything that is happening with regards to the traditional rulers, law 2023, and how that they're trying to give, a stronger face to what monarchy actually looks like in Akwa Ibom State. It's not something that has been really, really functional, so to speak. We've always had our paramount rulers, but what has always been their place? What has been their voice? So just give us a background to what exactly is happening before we go into the nitty-gritty of all of the controversies.
Well, thank you very much for having me. I want to greet our viewers wherever you are. It's good to be here to speak on this very topical issue. And I like the term that you use, monarchy. The traditional institution, like when I was growing up as a child, I learned there was a term that was more often used. They used to be called natural rulers. They are very natural, and where they evolve, a king reigns for life, except such a king is deposed by kingmakers. But with the advent of government and politics, we started having the issue where a king has to be certified after being appointed by kingmakers, because the process of emergence of traditional rulers is unlike politics, where you went for election, where you go for election, where you lobby and do all this and that. There are some kingdoms where the kingship resides in a particular family. It is still applicable in different places. You go to England, they have monarchy that dates back to centuries, and it can hardly be changed. Then fast forward here back to Akwa Ibom and Nigeria. You know that before the colonial masters came, we had some part of the country where the traditional institution was so strong that even the Britons who colonized us could not tamper with the structure, particularly in the north. But down south, would not have that kind of very strong, very powerful traditional institution. So we had indirect rule up north, and then we had a direct rule system down south. But for us as a people, there is a history that some persons may not be aware of. You talked about Ibibios, Ibibio Nation, and you mentioned Anang Nation, and we don't operate, if we are to go by the tradition our forebears started, we don't have nations here. We are one people. We are Ibibio people. And somebody may ask, what makes Akwa Ibom and Ibibio tribe majorly? You look back at history, you discover that the Ibibios gave leadership. Even when we were in the eastern Nigeria, the desire for state creation was championed by the Ibibio people. Two, the union that galvanized the state, which also has even crossover states as part of it, was the Ibibio Union, which was established in 1928. And in the Ibibio Union, you had people from Anang, you had people from Oro, you had the Ibibio people themselves play key roles. The pioneer president of the Ibibio Union was from Etinan, Chief Samson Udoituk. And then you had a vice president who was from Anang, in the person of Obong Samson Udoidion from Urogonam. And he happens to be the grandfather-in-law, the grandfather of the immediate past First Lady of Akwa Ibom State, Mrs. Martha Udomimando. Yes. We also had even the same man become the president of Ibibio Union. And when scholarship was given, the first communal or association of people in Nigeria that gave scholarship, foreign scholarship, to their children was the Ibibio people. And that was in 1938. And they gave scholarship to their sons across Akwa Ibom State. There was nothing like Ibibio. It's just that the Ibibio people, it's both a name and a people. But generally speaking, we have one language with dialectical differences. You have the Anang and you have the Oro. And then when the scholarship was given, they were known and still known as the 6 merchants of light. It was given to 2 people from Anang. Obong, or Right Honorable as we call it, because he grew up to become even a minister and a deputy premier in the southeastern states, Ibanga Udo Akpabio, from a Senudum. And there was one other man from Abak that was given. Unfortunately, the person died after graduation. He read medicine. And you come down to Uyo area, you have Basudo Diarata, the father to His Excellency Architect Obong Victor Ta, and others. Let me not go naming them. The slot that was given to the districts that embodied Oro was taken up by Nsima, who is from Meket. And when Oro desired that their son should also be given, their son was to be given. Oro now said, okay, they are going to give their son a scholarship too. I think that was Essin that was given scholarship by Oro. And they went and came back. Even the man that masterminded it, Obong Samson Udoituk, who is the father to architect Kongetuk from Etinan, he refused to be part of the scholarship and had to go on his own self-sponsorship, selflessness. So what have we been able to establish? That as far back as in the 1920s, the 30s, the people of this part of the world were one. And the core state movement, and not just that, they established, the Ibibio Union established a school. It was called Ibibio State College. And where is the Ibibio State College found? Where was it about? In Nikodekpene. Because Nikodekpene was seen as an Ibibio land. We were all Ibibios. So Ibibio State College was built there. And when Ibang Akwa came back, he read education. He was made the first principal of that school. The history is there. Just that people were saying, is it still called Ibibio State College? The name was later modified to be called State College. As a short form, State College. It's still Ibibio State College. And then agitation, I think was it Richardson Constitution when they were trying to work on federalism for Nigeria, the Ibibio people united, declared that they will need state creation. The first set of people to desire and to canvass for state creation was the Ibibio people, which embodied Ibibio, Anang, Oro, and then they pushed for it. The name was even had to modified. Instead of Ibibio Union, they now call it the Ibibio State Union. And that was under the leadership of Sir Udo Udoma, who became almost the longest serving president of the union. So the long and short, from the Ibibio State Union movement, they had to modify it to be called, they had the core state movement, which at the point was, the conference was chaired by Abong Samson Odoidion, and the conference was held at the back. It was still an Ibibio thing, because the leadership, people have to provide leadership. So the long and short of this whole history is that from onset, we have been one people. And the creation of Southeastern states was the outcome of the unity of purpose by the Ibibio people, which the traditional institution, because by this time, the Abong Samson Odoidion from Orogonam had been made Abong Ikpaisong, Ibibio, Yanang.
That's Samson Odoidion, who is from the Anang faction.
Yes, it was Abong Ikpaisong, Ibibio, Yanang. And even the memo for state creation, the traditional rulers was one of that made it, that submitted it. So the entire history is such that we are working on something that will simplify what I'm trying to say now, to let people know that we've been warned. And from Southeastern State, we were very happy. And when Cross River State was renamed, with the people of this part, which had prominently the Ibibios, now desired for another state, which was to be called mainland state. This part of the Cross River or Southeastern State was called mainland.
So let's do this, because so that the history does not take us, off the line of what we want to look at. There is a move to rejig the traditional rulers law for 2023. It looks like there's a lot more people on the side of, yes, let us realign some things, but there are some people who have even moved a stay of motion to the court and saying that, that move should not be carried out. What is the real bone of contention here? Yes, history is history. It might be in the books like, yes, we are one nation, but let's be, honest with ourselves. The Anang man wants to be an Anang man. The Oro man wants to be an Oro man. And then again, would you say that there is a place where politics, the rotation for governorship, also affects all of that fabric of, it's Ibibio, it's Anang? Some of those things are having, a strong impact on the monarchy. But with regards to this particular law, what is the exact bone of contention? What does the state government want to modify that some persons are saying we are not comfortable with that modification?
You talked about the influence of politics. What has affected virtually every aspect of human endeavor, not just in Akwa Ibom, but in Nigeria, has been the advent of democracy, unbroken 24 years running and still counting, is the effect, very negative effect of politics by the definition of people who see politics as manipulation, as intrigues, as deceit, as a chance to grab whatever you can for yourself. Politics has affected the traditional institution negatively. Otherwise, if you follow the history I've given, in fact, politics had no power over monarchy in this part of the world. The traditional rulers called the shots. They even fought for all the state creations, even up to Akwa Ibom state, more than even politicians. Yes, because people were either a community leader or you are a traditional ruler. So the politics aspect is that a number of persons believe they have to carve out a name for themselves so that they can be brought to the table. And that has been very bad. And when you look at the traditional institution, it's unlike government where people canvass for election, you have to be in office for 2 years or 4 years, and then or 8 years, then you want to see all you can grab. But in the traditional institution, the last administration did quite a great deal to restructure it. It was a gradual restructuring. First, Akwa Ibom has a body of traditional rulers. It was used to be called Akwa Ibom Council, Akwa Ibom State Council of Chiefs.
Yeah.
And their head was called a chairman. And the tenure was 1 year. And it rotates. In the local governments, every paramount ruler has a chance, every local government has a chance of chairing the Council of Chiefs.
Yeah.
But it was seen that you have a paramount ruler today, the next 1 year he's gone. It doesn't really give the person time to galvanize things. And so it was extended to 2 years. Okay. And in the course of time, with the proclamation of Akwa Ibom Ibibio and the coronation, it now fell to the turn of Ibom to produce. And then Ntengin Solomon Etuk, who's the Akwa Ibom Ibibio, His Eminence Ntengin Dr. Solomon Etuk, became the chairman of the Akwa Ibom State Council of Chiefs. And along the line, he was to spend 2 years. Government now realized that the name needed to be changed and the title, the nomenclature. So a bill was sent by the Udom Emmanuel administration, and the name was changed to Akwa Ibom State Traditional Rulers Council. And then the head is to be called President General, and he's to stay for 2 years. Ntengin was about concluding his 2 years, but I think the paramount rulers all agreed. Now with the change of name and change of title, let Ntengin Solomon Etuk
go for another
term, which was rare. There was no dissenting. There were no dissenting voices. The politicians didn't even get most people were never aware that was happening, because what goes on in traditional institution is different from what goes on in partisan politics. So at the end, towards the end of the second term of Ntengin Solomon Etuk as the President General of the Akwa Ibom State Traditional Rulers Council, like what we've heard, and we've heard His Excellency Governor Moino say it when issues started coming out in the public. We now heard that there was a meeting between the former governor, Udom Emmanuel, with the traditional rulers, which the then newly elected governor, Moino, was in attendance, where the traditional rulers agreed, from what we heard, that we should have different layers in the sense that there is now need at the national for Akwa Ibom to have a preeminent king that will be attending the meeting at the national level. Because at the national level, we have the National Council of Traditional Rulers. And that National Council of Traditional Rulers has a co-chairman, a chairman and a co-chairman. And they run a tenure. As we speak, the Sultan of Sokoto and the Oni of Ife are the co-chairmen of the National Council of Traditional Rulers. So, and most of these people, in fact, from my research, about 23 states or more have permanent representatives. Yes. But in Akwa Ibom, because of the style of administration that we run, where a sitting state chairman or president general stays for just 2 years, which means every 2 years you'll be having a new face having to represent Akwa Ibom State at the national. And looking at the national and international politics, it will be impossible for us to be seen as very serious-minded people. Looking back at the trajectory where we are coming from, where our traditional rulers, as far back as in the 20s, provided leadership that no part of this country ever had such records. So, government and traditional rulers felt they need to have a different layer. First, which must be understood, is that the circle of paramount rulers in the state taking their turns to be chairmen of the Akwa Ibom Traditional Rulers Council is still there. But the leadership at the state level is going to be called chairman, and it will still run for 2 years. But to have a preeminent layer where we have somebody to be representing us at the national, we need to maintain the earlier title, President General. And the presidency was created. People make the mistake. I'm going to read the press statement by the chairman of the House Committee on Local Government and Administrative Affairs. What he said were the amendments to the bill captured. The bill had earlier made provisions that the President General was going to sit for life. And that did not seem to go down well because there was a public hearing. And the paramount rulers went to the House of Assembly and they said, we don't want one person to be permanent on that seat or one stool. We have in Akwa Ibom the Okwa Ibom Ibibio. We have the Akwa Kukuonang for the Anang. We have the Taro. Those are the three pillars. And in Akwa Ibom, we must have been hearing what is called tripod. That's where the tripod comes from. Yes, there are other sub brothers, but those are the three major ones. So, because of the input of participants at that public hearing and the traditional rulers, the law was amended to capture that at the exit of the Okwa Ibom Ibibio, that Akwa Kuku Anang, who is the head of all traditional rulers in Anang, who happens to be Vice President 1. I should have made that clearly. We have three layers of the President, General, Vice President 1, and Vice President 2 being in Oro. That at the exit of the Okwa Ibom, who is taking the first shot, Akwa Kuku Anang will now emerge as President General, and Ataro will become President General 1. The next Okwa Ibom Ibibio, whosoever that will be Vice President 2. It is another level that runs a life of its own, different from the chairmanship by local government. So the challenge we've been having is that politicians who were not even interested in what goes in international institution, who have not even seen the bill, who are not ready to even see if they can solve a problem, because problems are meant to be solved. Agreed, there must have been some mismanagement of things along the line, but it's important that we know that this very law is not to make any group first class or second class citizen. And I have always said, whoever coined that term does not know the history of Akwa Ibom people.
So just because we need to let this land, before we get back, we'll get some more time to talk about this. But as it stands,
Yes.
is the law saying that there is going to be one chief of chiefs over all of these other, like you said, cadres for life? Or are they looking at this last rotation you just talked about, where Okwa Ibom Ibibio goes for a time when he's maybe probably, passes on, then the Anang person comes out and the rotation? What is going to be the agreement? What are we considering? What has the state government decided? Is it that Okwa Ibom Ibibio is going to sit permanently for life, or they are going to find a rotation that works on the tripod?
Let me read the press statement.
I don't think we have time to.
It's important because people must just grab what's
really
important.
overshot our time. So I was hoping that it was going to be a possible yes or no.
No, the answer. Yes is that once the current President General, who has been sworn in,
okay,
the chairman has also been sworn in the person of Odidem Bassey Temede. He's the current chairman of the Akwa Ibom Traditional Rulers Council, now, or Supreme Council, as may be called. At the exit, when when Ntenyin joins his ancestors as
Exactly.
traditional, from what was made available by the House Committee chairman, which I'm sure is the final bill that was signed, Akwa Kukuonang will now become the President General.
And the rotation will be
And
on
the
the tripod.
there's rotation at that level. So the issue that, oh, the matter is in court and some politicians have stepped in and some people are trying to make a crisis out of that is unnecessary.
Okay,
That's why this public education is very essential.
We'll definitely have to come back on this public education because time is against us and we're rushing through certain details. But we must agree that one thing that you have clarified is that Ibom, I beg your pardon, is not going to be sitting permanently. It's just like when he joins his ancestors, the Anang come on that tripod and it follows.
Absolutely.
Just like what we have like in the British monarchy. Whenever the king dies, the next person who is instead runs. Okay, let's just leave that for now. Today we'll definitely have Citizen Matthew O'Connor and probably some paramount rulers from the tripod to come join us, speak about this particular thing. We must be able to be careful not to heat up the traditional polity in the states with regards to some of this conversation. But it's been good education this morning, and this is the much we can take on Rise and Shine this morning. Apologize for overshooting the time. My name is Via, and I can definitely see you tomorrow. Until then, stay blessed.